Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the award-winning favorite show of yours, the Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. My name is Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at KrakenCryptocurrency.com. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic conclusion to your week, TGIF, and I hope you guys are prepared for some warm fun and activities for the weekend. We will be discussing today everything that's gone on in the cryptocurrency markets. Today, we'll be evaluating Bitcoin as it continues to put in some interesting characteristics, looking for those bottom predictions. We're going to discuss how our strategies caught the two most recent dips in Bitcoin's price action and how you can catch movements like that as well. We'll also be analyzing potential altcoins on the evaluation of their on-chain strength, as well as their buying volume, daily active addresses, and on-chain transaction volume, looking for buys and sells in the altcoin markets. As always, if you guys have questions or chart requests, please drop them in the chat. And of course, we are very proud to host the fastest growing online community of cryptocurrency traders and investors. To stay up to date with everything after the show, make sure to join us in our free Discord at discord.krakencryptocurrency.com. Links to that and everything else you could possibly need in your mortal existence are down in the description below. With that being said, overall, we're going to be going over and discussing the recent market analysis blog post that I just made, which you guys can find on our website. I did not put the link in the description. That was a situation. I should probably change that right now. I'm going to change it right now. Guys, just bear with me for 5 seconds so I can update this. There we go. Now, if you guys refresh the page, you'll be able to see the link in the description down below to the blog post that we're going to kind of be following along with. And the title of that blog post is Our Strategies Caught the Big Dips, and Now We're Buying Bitcoin. So to keep in line with that title, we're going to be looking at the areas where we're going to be setting our limit bids, both in the long term and in the short term. And we're going to be discussing the strength and weakness of Bitcoin in this current area. Again, all right, follow up on yesterday's topics. Not much that I can potentially think of. Now, we did get actually quite a few comments on yesterday's video, much to my surprise. So I always like to take this time and opportunity to discuss one or several of those comments from yesterday's video. And let's see here. I just had it in front of me. So first off, coming from Mr. Unicorn, asks, great stream, Justin. He asks, how did I get my Hall 60 smoothed out like that? Cheers. And I believe you're talking about the daily time frame. And to the best of my knowledge, I haven't done anything special to my Hall 60. I simply programmed it myself. If you guys check on our YouTube channel, I have a multiple moving averages library video where I discuss the library that I uploaded to TradingView that anybody can access to add many different moving averages into their own TradingView scripts. So if there's any inconsistency with the TradingView default Hall 60 moving average or the Hall moving average calculation in general, cross-reference that with all the code that's in my Hall moving average code that's in my multiple moving averages library. That's the one that I use. That's the code for the Hall moving average anyways that is in Baseline, although Baseline has a lot of other characteristics to it as well. So that's where I would direct you. But thank you for the comment, Mr. Unicorn. I highly appreciate that. And then secondly, yeah, obviously a lot of bot comments. But there just was one here. It was a very well thought out comment from an individual, and I want to find his name, but I'm not going to delay the stream too much. Essentially, they were asking how the current world conditions changed my opinions on the cryptocurrency markets going back to 2022. And I apologize that I cannot find your name, whoever left the comment. So I'll just address that here. You know, I have personally been through a lot in the last year. I've moved multiple times, had some changes to my family. And for that reason, and now I'm getting back to full strength in my trading and investing. You know, I kind of got a little spoiled letting all our algorithmic bots trade for the last honestly year now for me. And honestly, over the last 2 years, the bots have been running. So Bottom Feeder was able to increase my portfolio about 35% in 2021 and on track to do relatively well here in 2022. Whereas Super Duper Demo, which I created at the end of the year, took me up over 100% ROI on my trading portfolio. So I've been able to really kick back and enjoy life a little bit. But now, as we are in the depths of the bear market, it's very important to me to get our community back to where it was and to continue to grow and continue to challenge myself by taking on new challenges and seeking out new opportunities. So I would say that honestly, it was probably a little bit of lackadaisical attitude on my behalf. Toward the end of last year and in the beginning of this year, I wasn't hitting the charts as hard as I should have been. I wasn't looking for the signs like I should have been to really catch the top and nail that trade the way that I have handled bear markets in the past. So the honest answer to your question is I just got a little lazy and I wasn't as fully committed to the trading process as I historically have been. And the results of that have shown I would have made far more money had I been on top of my game, been analyzing all the metrics that I like to analyze, and been able to capture this movement with a sizable trade that I would have been really proud of and that I probably would have been bragging about all over the internet. So again, takeaway lessons from that is that, guys, largesse and, largesse creeps into all of our lives. You can do something a long time, and the reality of the situation is if you're bad at trading, it's probably because you're not very good at it, right? And I don't mean that to be rude, but the reality is you're probably just not that good at it. But the reality is if you just continue to practice every single day and seek small incremental gains, okay? One day, so every single day, you'll get a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And one day you will look up, right? Every single day, you'll just suck a little bit less at trading. And one day you'll look up and you'll realize that you suck so little that you're actually good now, okay? But that is also an area where you need to be vigilant, right? It's happened to me. Obviously, I just explained it, right? You can fall off, you can stop being as diligent, stop being as dedicated as you were, and you're going to miss big things and you're going to miss out on those opportunities. So just key reminder, stay disciplined, stay faithful, stay hard at work, and you'll be okay. But if you start to slip and get lax, out the door. Okay. With that being said, let's get over to the charts. So, and again, thank you guys so much for the comment. If you guys would like your comments answered or showcased at the beginning of the show, make sure to leave a comment on today's YouTube video after it's all done. And I apologize, that does kind of not allow Twitch or DLive viewers the ability to engage in this way. But if you just hop over to the YouTube channel and leave a comment, boom, you're in there. Okay. With that being said, let's hop over to the charts and we can do our trade of the day breakdown. Okay, so here we are. And we're going to be talking about our trade of the day breakdown with an active signal that I just posted. So let me bring this up, okay? This was a signal that I put out this morning, August 26th, well, not this morning, but in the afternoon. So about noon 30 past the noon is when I put out this trading signal. And this was for BTC USDT. And without going through the top-down analysis, let's just go over to the 30-minute chart and we'll look at a few things here. So 30-minute analysis here. As we can see, we're using the we're using VWAP and we're also using session volume profile. Okay, session volume profile is a very useful tool because it gives us the volume by price graph for each trading session or each individual 24 hours of the open cryptocurrency markets, in this case, Bitcoin. We're also using RSI here, of course, as our momentum oscillator, as I'm still in the act of, you only use the RSI as a momentum oscillator challenge that I've been challenged to do. So what do we have here? We have a steep, sharp drop in Bitcoin's price. Okay, and you can see that price was consolidating at the point of control before a spike down, a large surge in buying volume, pushing price up. We trade briefly above 2 standard deviations above the volume weighted average price, and then just an absolute collapse. Large movement to the downside, and now we've moved into some consolidation. My buy trigger was the fact that I missed this sell trigger. I wish I would have caught this. This would have been a great intraday reversal trade. Price trading above the VWAP, explosion of volume, and then a failure. This crash back bound below the point of control is also a potential trigger as well, but we were just moving with high volume, high volatility, and we had a nice sell-off today. And now currently price is consolidating at these new lows of around 20,632. Not new lows as far as Bitcoin's range goes, but certainly new lows that we've seen over the last few days. But anyways, price traded briefly below 2 standard deviations below VWAP. So basically we're just doing the exact same setup in reverse. We can see that our RSI values became oversold, and we've actually got a little bit of hidden bullish divergence here where we have, Nope, that is incorrect. That is not bullish divergence. That's something I thought I just spotted here, but that's not quite true. I was going to say that we had a higher low and a lower low, which would be hidden bullish divergence. But in this case, we do have a lower low in Bitcoin's price and a lower low. So that's just, that's not divergence, that's convergence, that's confirmation, nothing to speak of there. So again, just oversold. What I will say, and one reason that I have a bullish bias going into this, and if we look at my overall macro analysis that I've been publishing for the last few days, it is to view this area it is to view the current trading area between current price, where we were consolidating at the point of control. And if I bring up the VRVP, you guys can see that quite well. We're now trading a little bit below the VRVP. And this shelf, this high volume node right here, which you can really see, as Alex Pearson pointed out, on the XBT USD chart, but we're using the Binance chart. It's the most liquid, it has the most volume, and so can give us the most data. So anyways, about 19,219 to current price, as was current price yesterday. This range right here, I'm viewing as an accumulation zone for swing longs up to these 3 price targets to the upside. So that's the current trade analysis. Should we lose this level right here, if we trade below this green shelf, then I'll be canceling that order. I'll be suffering that loss, and I'll be looking to enter into a momentum short for one very important reason that I've pointed out many, many times. We are still in the bear market, okay? Which means individuals can become forced sellers at any moment. All right. Now, there are some metrics that show that we're not going to be, obviously, I'm a buyer here for a reason. The majority of data that I've reviewed indicates that there is not a real catalyst in the crypto markets that is going to push us a lot lower. For example, the exchange reserve. So the balance of Bitcoin on exchanges continues to dwindle. All right. This indicates less potential selling pressure. So until we see a wave of of Bitcoin moving on to exchanges, indicating that there is now a higher danger of selling pressure, I'm not too worried. MVRV ratio is also getting to a point where we could expect a trend reversal to the upside. Again, all these individuals have been kind of been wiped out who bought the top here. Up the $23,000, $24,000 area, they're now down about 10% ROI. And once we get to about negative 15%, we start to see short-term traders begin to close out their positions. And these are perpetual positions. So futures markets, they have to buy to close out their positions. So price typically moves upwards. Once everybody who wants to sell has sold. Price only has one way to go. In addition to that, let's see here. Yes. So in addition to that, we are also seeing massive spikes in Bitcoin outflow from exchanges correlating with these massive dumps, which is telling us that when these significant dips occur, when these large sell-offs in Bitcoin's price happens, somebody is scooping that Bitcoin up and moving it off exchange. So that's very important to note. It's important to note that whales are accumulating in these areas. And we'll go over all these metrics here in just a little bit. Okay. Let's see here. Goblin Moblin asks, Justin, how do you not get crushed by taxes trading in the United States? The same way that everybody avoids not getting crushed by taxes. You make more money. You're gonna pay 30 to you're gonna give 30% of everything that you make to the government anyway. So, 70% of a larger pie is a larger number, right? Like that's the reality of the situation, right? Like if you don't want to be, this is something I tell people all the time. If you don't want to be poor, you have to make more money. So if you're making less than $100,000 a year, what do I recommend you do? Take every single dime that is not going to your active living costs and put it into education. Put it into education. Put it into something that is going to make you more than $100,000 a year. Once you start to make more than $100,000 a year, you're always going to bitch about taxes. But in my experience, people who don't make a lot of money don't really bitch about taxes. People who make a lot of money tend to bitch a lot about taxes, but they're still making a lot of money. So that's the reality of the situation. Okay, so I just want to I wanted to get to the kind of the explanation behind the tagline of today, where I was saying that our strategies caught the dips. So we're going to pull up our standard P2P trading strategy. So this right here, this is the blueprint that I give to individuals. This is systems trading is what we do, developing trading strategies and using and trading like a robot, right? Having a clearly defined set of rules for how we enter trades, how much we risk per trade, when we trade, what we trade. All of these things I break down. I teach individuals how to do in our Pathways to Profit course. And this is the most popular indicator suite. Minx, Parallax, Wadatar Explosion is obviously free to use, but I did design it, not the original concept, but this is my modification of it. And then the baseline concept, all right? All of these indicators can be plugged, and this is a comprehensive P2P trading strategy when you combine your stop and target system of Quadriga. So all of these indicators together form a suite, which forms a comprehensive trading strategy. And this is typically what we're going to showcase for how these trading strategies can work for you. So I want to point out that we have a beautiful short sell signal here. We have Bitcoin's price trading below the Hall 60 here. And then on this candle right here, as you guys can see, Wadatar Explosion has a rising explosion level and is also showcasing negative delta. This is this red column above the explosion level. So this is a confirmation short. Some people use this as an initiator as well. So the actual trigger to enter this trade. We also have Minx crossing below zero. Minx crossing below zero or above zero is the most common trigger that people are going to use, especially when they're just beginning out in the Pathways to Profit course. But we have that's confirmation or initiation. Then, of course, Parallax letting us know that we should be trading to the short side because we are below the zero line here as well. So everything lining up here for a beautiful short. And what do we get here on the daily bar just a few days ago? We get a beautiful movement here. Again, from an open of 23,183 to a close of 20,751. So a nice juicy 10% profit right there. And then as you guys can see, Wadatar Explosion begins to trade down. Again, not actually. So depending on how you use your exit trigger, you could either be using the recovery from oversold or the crossing back above the signal line here for Minx. So a lot of individuals would have closed their short position out here. Got to be very happy with that. And some individuals would have closed their position out here when we start to get waning Wadatar Explosion bars. So when momentum and prices increasing to the downside, these red bars are going to grow. And they'll be colored dark red. And when volume and volatility begin to wane, when momentum, begins to wane, then these columns will begin decreasing and their color will change to burnt orange. So that burnt orange can be an exit signal to exit your trade. You also have Parallax recovering from oversold, which is another potential exit trigger right here. Or potentially you're using your own exit indicator entirely, right? Regardless, I'm trying to give you guys the framework of how you can be a little bit more successful here using objective indicators to guide your trading. Either way, what do we have nowadays? All right, now we have a very interesting candle, right? So again, Minx has not broken back down below the static filter. Okay, if it would have on this bar, this would be a full short signal. Keep in mind, it'd be a continuation short. We are below the Hall 60. We've got Minx threatening to break down below the static filter. We've got a rising bar now in Wadatar Explosion above the explosion level, Parallax still below. The only reason I'm not a big fan of this signal right here is the fact that we were just oversold. But again, you take the trade, you follow the system, you do your thing. The only thing I'd be watching for here and waiting for is Minx to actually break down and give me the full confirmation for this trade. So again, just showcasing how this suite of indicators can help you capture this position. What I thought was the most interesting here is if we go down to the 4-hour time frame, this structure is working just so beautifully on the 4-hour time frame. So if you guys are struggling on the daily, I recommend that you stay on the daily until you figure it out, because that's kind of going to give you your guidance or your baseline for how you're going to be trading moving on into the future. But the 4-hour chart is very instructive here. Again, look at this breakdown here. We break down below the Hall 60. Potentially you don't hop into this trade because the trade's been going for a while, but then you get a reset, and then on this bar you get a beautiful entry. You're able to ride this trade all the way down, and then right here, so again, beautiful short trade that the system catches. All of this maneuver right here keeps you out of this entirely because we're not going long, because we're below the baseline. So it doesn't matter what WADA is doing here. We're below the baseline. We're not going long. And then right here, where do we get our short signal? We get it on we get it on this candle right here on the 4-hour time frame with BTC/USDT. So you'd be in an active position short, moving to the downside right here. So far, the trade's going quite nicely for you. Now we are starting to get a waning bar, a waning 4-hour bar right here. Minx starting to curl back up. So depending on what you're using for your exit trigger, again, you could be using the recovery from oversold, the cross above the signal line on Minx, or the waning momentum from Wadatar Explosion. So simply waiting for this 4-hour bar to close, which coincides with the daily bar. To about 2.5 hours, this bar will be closed, and you can really have some guidance on whether to keep your short open or close it for BTC USDT. Okay. Why are you doing? Oh, I know why. Yeah. Okay, so daily PTP offering a little guidance here. Again, you can either be, as far as our automated systems go, not our automated systems, as far as this trading strategy goes, you can either be position short or you can be looking to enter one. You need a little bit more confirmation. You need that daily minx to cross under. 4-hour time frame. You've gotten a nice win here. You're in an active short position here. Not much else to write home to mom about. Waiting for the close of this 4-hour bar to determine what to do with the rest of your position. Okay. Going back to BTC and doing that kind of top-down analysis, not too much here on the weekly chart to talk about. I already kind of discussed this. Going back to the daily, again, we do have this breakdown below the point of control. We were consolidating here briefly, breaking back down. We've now triggered my first limit entry price for my Bitcoin swing position. So although I did take an intraday long today based on VWAP and based on volatility and volume, we did now hit my first limit order for my swing position up to these higher profit targets for BTC USDT as well. RSI is creeping a little bit closer to the oversold. So again, we've got a nice little bit of leg here down to that shelf. So we've got about 7% potential price decline in Bitcoin that could potentially happen over the next few days. Doubtfully over the weekend. I think we're going to see consolidation over the weekend, probably stay right where we're at. Of course, we can trade down and trade back up. Okay, we can trade back down and trade back up. That's usually how it tends to be. The market tends to open on Monday where it closed on Friday, and that's just the way that it is. And everything in between Saturday and Sunday is typically just intraday noise. So nominal volume remains quite high. Again, very juicy area for accumulation. We're seeing a lot of sell side absorption on chain. So again, remains a very interesting area. Going down to the 4-hour time frame. Again, RSI is starting to creep toward oversold. And do you guys remember what I said yesterday? Yesterday, I said, look at how the 4-hour RSI has remained above the RSI moving average. And that if you were looking for your signal to sell, wait for that breakdown below the RSI. And where does that occur? It occurs on this bar. So if you would have been watching the show and watching for that simple RSI cross under trigger, you could have caught all this as well. All right. So again, just interesting things to point out, guys. Lots of stuff for you guys to pay attention to. 30-minute time frame. Again, Bitcoin's consolidating nicely down here at the lows after trading below VWAP. Again, expecting a little bit of upwards price pressure here as we move into the evening close. I would like to see higher prices, not only because my trade would win and make me look smarter, but because that's what I would expect to see after this type of market movement to the downside. A little bit of a recovery and then potential continuation long term. I am expecting long term over the next week or so lower prices so that we can get those lower limit entries filled before the swing back up on Bitcoin's price. Overall, red day in the markets, as we can see here. Again, everything following along with the collapse. The only things that are a little the only things that are moving contrary to Bitcoin's price action overall is HODLing token and the original Luna. So hurrah, you know, we're like 10,000% away from getting back to the lowest price that we had seen in Luna before the depegging event. So all right. All good. Shout outs to everybody in the chat. I see Goblin Moblin, Ron Legato, Alex81, SG, B-Flow, and Mass Stash. Good to see you guys. Thanks so much for joining me today. Okay, so we're going to kind of skip over the Ethereum analysis. And interestingly enough, I do want to go right to... I want to go to my crypto screener. So what I'm this is the crypto screener that I tend to use on a daily basis, and what I'm measuring here is I am measuring for significant deviations away from the 7-day moving average of daily active addresses on chain for a token. of transaction volume and trading volume. All right, so I'll give you an example. We'll load Huobi token here, and I'm going to load my screener layout here. Okay, so this might seem like a lot at first, but it's really not. You just have to learn how to decipher it, and you have to learn like what these things mean. So the most critical thing that I look for here is if you will pay attention to this yellow step line. It's kind of this one right here, these large bars. This represents daily active addresses. And so what we see almost without a doubt is very similar to volume. If we see very large spikes in daily active addresses when price is in a downtrend, we typically see a reversal. Why does that? Why is that? The reason why is because it indicates that a lot of addresses have just become active. And why would addresses become active? Because they're purchasing tokens and pulling them back into their wallet. They're buying coins, whether on DEXs or on centralized exchanges, and withdrawing into their wallets, or they're just trading on DEXs and purchasing coins. Either way, they're being active on the network. Coins are moving. So this typically happens in significant amounts at the top of rallies and at the bottom of dips. So again, we can just see pretty much without fail large spikes in daily active addresses correlating to bottoms or tops, and then the onus is just kind of on you to figure it out. So let's just zoom into this most recent area of the market. As you guys can see here, we have this nice little rally in Huobi token's price, and then we have a massive spike in daily active addresses, and immediately what follows, we have a decline in price. This is also correlated with the blue bars in the background are going to be trading volume. This is going to be coming from DEXs so DEXs from on-chain data, as well as centralized exchange data. So note again, very similarly, we often experience massive spikes in trading volume at peaks and bottoms. So we're just looking for those opportunities. If we're looking to be buyers, then obviously we're looking for all of these things to occur while in a downtrend. And if we're looking to be sellers, we're looking for all these things to occur while we are in an uptrend. So what do we see here for Huobi token's price? We have this huge spike in daily active addresses and then a pullback, but daily active addresses has dropped back down to its pre-pump level. And so we just need to see for a few more days whether this rally is going to sustain itself. Right now, I think that HT can actually move a little bit further to the upside. Why? Because we don't have another spike in big daily active addresses. And we also just have a nice spike in trading volume here. Now, I can be wrong about this. What this can mean, we generally see huge spikes at the tops of markets. This could just be occurring without the daily active addresses. But usually I like to see all of these things occurring at once. And then the other thing that's important here is transaction volume. So this is this big red line spike right here. And red line spikes are very interesting because they indicate on-chain volume, right? They indicate on-chain volume. So as we can see here, during this dip in Huobi token's price, we had this big, huge spike of transaction volume, meaning that the nominal value of coins moving on-chain was quite high. And what happened just a little bit after that? We began a huge pump. So this is letting us know that there was a massive buy order that was executed on chain for Huobi token, and it was a pretty smart move because prices moved up, and then we get a nice spike in price, and we get a huge spike daily active addresses. Again, individuals moving funds on chain, huge spike in volume, and price declines. Nicely, we have another little spike right here. So, okay, so going back to my screener. Free Man's Cryptoverse, thank you so much for joining us over there on YouTube, my friend. So this is an interesting one. Voyager token. All right. So Voyager token's been in the news lately. Obviously, you guys are aware of kind of the scuttlebutt of Voyager getting the fall out of the Three Arrows Capital fiasco. Again, very similarly here, we can see almost without a fail the green line indicating price, and we notice these huge spikes of daily active addresses at the tops of these little rallies. Okay, and we notice these huge spikes in transaction volume before rallies. Okay, so very important here. Now, if we just zoom into what's going on, obviously the price of Voyager has exploded. And what's interesting, so this is an interesting metric. The reason why I use this as my screener is because as I look at Voyager token right now, I can almost guarantee you that this thing is going to fall off the face of the map. Okay. this thing is going to fall off the face of the map. The reason why is because we have a massive rally in price. Okay. However, we also have a massive spike in daily active addresses. We have a massive spike in transaction volume, and we have a massive spike in trading volume. And that really only picks up and starts to reach its zenith right here. Right here, you can see that absolute explosion of trading volume. This all looks like a top to me. So actually, in my market analysis that I just put out on the website, which you guys can all go view, it is free for everybody to view for the first 24 hours. And then after that, it's going to be available to subscribers only. That's how we're going to be doing things. So you guys can view. I've posted all this data, all of these charts, analyzing what altcoins to buy or sell based on-chain data and oversold ratios, and then what altcoin projects that you might consider buying based on-chain strength and oversold values, and then what altcoins you should be considering to sell for the exact same thing, and then these additional tokens to sell as well. Voyager, as you can see, is on this list. Additional altcoins to sell currently if you hold Viberate, Nesttree, and Voyager. So make sure you guys go check that out. Again, link to this market analysis is in the description down below. So yeah, I can almost guarantee you that Voyager is going to fall off the map here. It is overvalued, so I would recommend short positions on Voyager. I mean, so Goblin Moblin, I'm reading your question, and like these percentages don't matter. Okay. When you get to that level, as I have a fantastic accountant who helps me reduce my tax burden through any means necessary. The reality is, as long as the money that you're left with is enough for you to live off and you're happy with, I don't understand. Like, I get this all the time about taxes, and it just like, I don't, it boggles my mind. It boggles my mind, right? That people really get, I think, confused about the situation. And I'm not saying, I don't mean that to sound deprecating. All I'm saying is that if you make, I'm just going to pick numbers literally out of thin air. So you pick this apart all you want. If you make $1 million in profit, okay, and let's say you pay a 60% tax burden, okay, you still have made $400,000, and that's more than most people make. Like this, it's the reality of being wealthy. You're going to pay a lot of taxes. It's the reality, and you do everything you can to attempt to reduce that tax burden. And the way that wealthy people do that is by getting an accountant that knows far more than they will ever know. It's just the way it works. Self-directed IRAs are fantastic. I think they're great, but I don't think they're right for everybody because they reduce the liquidity of your funds, right? The money has to stay in that IRA. And then, yes, I know there are complicated ways in which you can set up businesses and all this kind of stuff, but the reality of the situation is it's in an IRA, and so you can't access it until you retire. Well, I'm trying. So let me, how do I put this? Excuse me. I want to talk about this correctly. I think self-directed IRAs are fantastic for trading BTC or for trading cryptocurrencies. There's lots of products out there on the market now, and obviously you can do it yourself through a self-directed account. But most individuals, or how do I put this? You would have to trade. You would have to trade that separately. You have to trade that separately from your primary trading account. And that's fine. Like, you know, as you begin to become successful in trading, you begin to set, like, this is what I've followed in my progression, right? Like, as you begin to profit from trading, and as it begins to become your daily source of income, you start setting aside money for the future. The way I actually did this was by diversifying my portfolio by investing in traditional finance or commodities or purchasing real estate, and diversifying that way. Ron, you're telling me, brother. You are telling me, man. Okay. Sorry, we got a little off script there. All right, guys, I'm going to open up the chats. So we've talked about one of what I'm watching. I'm kind of watching Voyager. I'm also watching, one token that I find interesting that came up on my screener. So there's a couple of interesting ones here. This TokenClub, TCT, actually looks relatively interesting, okay? Now, I haven't issued any recommendations for this yet. However, if we just look, we had this nice spike in transaction volume, transaction volume and daily active addresses right here on this pump, and we saw price get crushed. But again, volume remains very, very high. So I would be waiting to see another spike in daily active addresses for a potentially a continued push to the upside for TokenClub TCT. So again, just looking relatively interesting to me. But I want to open this up, give you guys an opportunity to do a chart request. So if there's a cryptocurrency chart you guys would like me to look at, I would be happy to look at it. In the meantime, whoa. We're going to do a quick ad break here. All right, guys. So if you are enjoying the stream, you like the analysis, obviously make sure you go check out the market analysis. That is the companion blog post to this today. It's available on our blog. And while you're there, stop by and check out all of the premium services that we offer. We are proud to host one of the fastest growing, in my opinion, I'm very proud of it, our online premium trading group. We offer our analysis and signals. We offer access to all of our premium indicator suites. Our Pathways to Profit strategy course, which teaches you how to build your own trading strategy from the ground up, regardless of how much or how little experience you have. Whether you're an experienced trader, often we have to break you back down and show you all the mistakes that you're making. And if you're an inexperienced trader, again, we give you all the tools that you need. And of course, you get access to our premium Discord, so you guys can take advantage of the community aspect of growing together as traders. You guys can find all that information. The link is in the description down below, premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. Okay. Let's go over and look at a very let's see here. No, of course not, Bam Bam. Definitely not going to get refunded from the government. What are some of your alt gems to HODL? Justin G asks. So this is just going to go back to kind of what I've said. As far as my altcoin portfolio, you guys, so all the premium subscribers have access to my altcoin portfolio. I put out my altcoin portfolio a couple of years ago. I honestly haven't changed it very much, and that portfolio did very well. Of course, I constructed that portfolio back in 2020, and we held those tokens throughout 2021. And so obviously it's done relatively well. Right now, I'm not holding too many altcoins. I'm pretty open with what I hold. I've got a little bit, I'm missing my whiteboard here right now. But again, Ethereum and Bitcoin, I'm in about 25% of the total position that I want for the next bull run right here at these prices. Otherwise, I'm still stabled up, taking advantage of yield opportunities. But again, to be quite honest, as far as my long-term portfolio goes, I'm not being very active with it right now, right? I am actively trading right now with my trading portfolio. They are separate. But as far as altcoin gems, I don't think this is the time to be scooping those up, okay? The on-chain fundamentals for Bitcoin have not recovered yet, and always, historically, and this isn't even like, well, just because it's happened before. No. Just because it's happened before doesn't mean it has to happen again. Yes, it does. The on-chain fundamentals for Bitcoin have to recover and show growth before a bull market happens. It's just, there's no other way. This is crypto. People have to use the network. People have to move coins around, right? At the very least, which contributes to on-chain activity. I don't think individuals should be really focused on altcoin gems right now. I mean, the temperature out there right now, the climate out there for the majority of the altcoin scene is absolutely toxic. People are just trying to grab all the money that they possibly can in this environment. And don't get me wrong, people are building and there are great projects out there. But for your average investor right now, or even if you're a little experienced, it's just too dangerous. It's just too dangerous right now. We're not at the back the truck up area. And I don't necessarily think that the best strategy is in scooping those up at the lowest prices that you can. I think you should be waiting until the Bitcoin network recovers and the Ethereum network recovers. Well, obviously the Ethereum network is a little wonky right now with the merge coming up, but once you see signs that the market broadly as a whole is recovered, then you can begin making your allocations because you've got a good indication that, okay, the bull market is coming in the future. Bflow asks, is the spreadsheet to the SSDMA available? Yeah, all premium members can access all the spreadsheets for all our automated strategies at any time. Just go to the shared drive access that you're granted. Let me show you a little bit on my screen. So you just go to introductory and beginner material. It's going to be in the premium signal tracking and results. And you just go to automated strategies and you can see all of the spreadsheets for all the automated strategies in this folder. Premium signal tracking and results, automated strategies. We've got Bam Bam talking about ILV being a gem. Mastash agrees, not the time right now. Also, the way of crypto industry seems wonky, like no good projects doing good movement. Very strange. It's just the state, when prices are down, everybody cockroaches flee and, the rats come out and it's just, you got to survive. That's why listen, guys, write this down. Repeat it to yourself every day. If you want to be in crypto, you want to make your living through crypto, you want to make generational wealth through crypto like you see everybody else do, you just have to survive the bear market. Just survive the bear market. And you'll do okay. Aaron Webb says, I was thinking about this recently. Do I think DeFi projects can stay DeFi in the macro, considering how we have to make crypto adaptable and get more money in the market through regulation? Yeah, I mean, I do. I think that cryptocurrency and decentralized finance represent what a lot of people are calling kind of the fourth revolution, right? Where we move from centralized systems and databases to decentralized systems and databases. I mean, not to be kind of catchphrasy here, but to give power back to the people, right? To remove centralized institutions from the power equation and to put everyone on an equal level to where we really have what's the word I'm looking for here? What's that? I'm sorry. My grammar is normally quite good, but what is the term for, what the kind of economy that we're not economy, but the kind of society that meritocratic. That's the word I'm looking for. Meritocratic, where you receive reward based on the merit of your skill or your intelligence or your prowess or your speed, not on the fact that you're the middleman, right? And everyone has to go through you. Right? That's a different kind of thing. All right, so Rob Taylor is requesting OOKI USDT. The first thing I want to do is, this is the first time I'm hearing about OOKI, so I just want to see. It is on Sandbase. Okay, excellent. Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. So let's check this out. Let's well, clicker mouse ain't working right now, so we're just gonna go last year. There we go. All right, so obviously OOKI USDT listed on Coinbase calendar, potential Coinbase listing soonish, might be opportunity to sell if the market doesn't get roasted in the next few weeks. So we are evaluating OOKI on whether this is a good buy right now. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Would you buy this or would you sell this? Available on Binance and all major crypto markets available near you. All right, so this thing has pretty much done what we would expect. Crushed about 75, 80% since launch. Not even a big spike. Oh wow, even more. It got like this thing got nuked. This thing's crushed over 90% since drop, since listing on Binance. OOKI indeed. This thing is OOKI. Oh my God. Pulse Chain Poppy, good to see you, my brother. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so just looking at the chart, let's go to the daily here, guys. You know, this is not looking super fantastic. We are in an uptrend right now. We are experiencing higher highs, if you take out the wicks, and higher lows so far. A little bit of consolidation currently right here. I would say holders are probably safe as long as price remains above not 620. That's where the daily baseline is coming in right now. A break below that would signal a shift in trend. RSI is in the bullish control zone. However, we are now trading underneath the RSI moving average. And nominal volume is not very high right now, which is actually good because price is moving up and you don't want to see huge volume spikes in an uptrend. Huge volume spikes in an uptrend indicate a top. So overall, this actually doesn't look too bad. I think this trend potentially could continue. One thing I don't like here is all these wicks to the upside. You typically, again, see this. This is a typical topping pattern or behavior of coins that are topping out is big wicks to the upside, correlating with big volume spikes. If I were to see that like at the low lows, like down over here, I would call it accumulation. Boom, 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 push up. But up here, I would call it distribution, right? Now, we go over and look at some on-chain data here. And again, we can see, just listen, guys, I'm not crazy, all right? Look at these huge spikes in daily active addresses. And where do they come in at? Right? At big tops. Here we go. Here's a huge spike in daily active addresses. Where does it come in at? At the absolute bottom. Okay? Huge spike in daily active addresses. Where does that come in at? At the bottom. Okay? And then if we... Let's just go look at the last 3 months for OOKI here. Look at OOKI's price here. We go from, let's just show the axis for price here. We seem to trade from about not 4.5, and we pump. There's that pump we saw all the way up to not 9. So it's like a 2x in a day. And look at this massive spike in transaction volume and daily active addresses falls off the map. Okay, so yeah, looking at OOKI's price right now, all right, we don't see any current spikes in daily active addresses. Volume actually is relatively low. No big transaction volume spikes, so no huge movements of coins on chain. Holders might be okay. And perhaps they're doing exactly what Rob Taylor was just talking about with the potential Coinbase listing coming up. So am I going to recommend you to go out and buy OOKI based on a potential Coinbase maybe listing? No. But what I am saying is that I don't see any signs that would make me immediately sell OOKI if I was holding it. So if you are holding this token, potentially wait for that Coinbase listing catalyst. Nice pump, get out of your position, boom. And I just hope you didn't buy, you know, much higher, like at listing on Binance, because you're screwed. You're going to take a loss. That's just... It says what it is. Okay. Thank you, Rob Taylor, for that chart request. I was very happy to take it. Freeman's Cryptoverse asks, who has the interest to keep or push us so low as we are now? And do they only make profit using leverage trading? What do I think? So this was brought, so Alex and I were talking about this the other day. And I think the issue here, I think the kind of mental decoherence that you're experiencing is viewing the individuals responsible in mass, right? Obviously retail is responsible for price movement as well, like they are buying and selling in aggregate. But when we think about like large players, they don't think like retail players do. Retail traders will look at this area, right? It's very common, and think to themselves, wow, price is so low. Who would possibly want to sell Bitcoin here? Like, who in their right mind would sell Bitcoin here? It just makes no sense. We're so low. This is not how professional money managers or professional traders think. I've been through enough markets to know that there is no such thing as a relatively low price. Or excuse me, there's no such thing as an absolute low price. There are relatively low prices. Okay, everything is relative. All right, thank you, Einstein. The reality of the situation is that even though crypto has just chunked out a huge portion of its market capitalization and we've fallen quite a bit, this ride may be far from over, right? We've looked at the valuation models. I've shared the valuation models with you guys on if we do get another move to the downside. I mean, 14,000 is a very realistic target. That's what the current model is predicting for Bitcoin's bottom if we do end up getting more downside. Let me just share this with you guys. Yeah, here's the current valuation model for Bitcoin. And what we're targeting is the delta price down here, currently sitting at 13,655. Okay, I'll keep you guys updated on that as we go along. This is from my Glassnode dashboard. So who's selling here? People who are forced to sell, right? Any funds, any asset managers, any family operations, any shops, any hedge funds, any prop desks that were holding Bitcoin on their reserves. You know, maybe they've held on till now. But if we start to see the macroeconomic situation continue to deteriorate, if we continue to see supply chain shortages, if China's economic contagion begins to spill out more, if the Eurozone bond yields continue to rise, if the Eurozone, nobody's buying the Euro bonds, then people are going to become forced sellers, right? So massive market movements happen, like huge breakdowns like this happen when positioned buyers, people who have already bought, are forced to sell. Like they're forced to sell, either because they have to, because their boss told them to, whether they're at their liquidation point, whether they've run out of money, or whether they've all reached the maximum point of pain. Now, don't get me wrong. There is just as much evidence to suggest we look very much like we could at a bottom. This could be the bottom, right? We might have already put in the bottom. But the on-chain fundamentals that I've shared with you guys over and over again, right? Going back to my bear market mirage dashboard here in Glassnode. Right? Looking at new addresses, the momentum of new addresses, looking at exchange flows, looking at the percent of miner revenue from fees, looking at the exchange flow multiples, the NUPL, so net unrealized profit and loss, or NRPL. All of these things haven't recovered yet. And they always all recover before we're very confident that the bull market is back on and the worst of the bear is over. Right now, we don't have any of that, right? We could just as easily continue to break down here. This is why I say over and over again, guys, as a trader, the most important lesson you can learn is in preserving loss or preventing loss, preserving capital. That is lesson number one. Your number one focus as a trader should not be making money. It should be not losing money, right? The moment your brain shifts from only thinking about how can I make a trade to make money to how can I structure my trades so that if things go to shit, I don't lose a lot. That's when you'll be successful. So yeah, I mean, that's a lot. And then, of course, there's always the old tired like, well, it's the big banks. They want to push price lower so that they can buy up Bitcoin on the cheap and reap all the rewards. That might be true. Fuck, I don't know, man. Caprica talking about Bitcoin dominance is in an area of support. Not sure if it's good for altcoins or if Bitcoin dominance rallies from here. Well, let's go take a look. Fuck. Yeah, so Bitcoin dominance down to about 40.62% here. Okay, dominance in a downtrend. However, we did reach a little bit of an oversold area. Look at this. Look at this. I know people laugh at me for doing technical analysis on dominance. It works. Okay, I'm fucking telling you, it works. We've got some bullish divergence in Bitcoin dominance right here. So again, we saw this with Ethereum too. We saw Ethereum move up on once the official date of the merge was announced, September 15th, September 16th. In July and August, we saw multiple spikes in the price of Ethereum, and altcoins kind of followed along throughout July. And then Ethereum continued to rise and altcoins started to slide off. And this was individuals moving out of their altcoin speculative plays and moving their funds into Ethereum for the Ethereum speculative merge play. However, I think what's starting to get into investors' minds is like sell the news, right? So I think individuals are starting to try to sell ahead of the news. We're already starting to see that a little bit. And so for this reason, although Bitcoin dominance continues to drop, remember, Bitcoin dominance it's a powerful metric to watch. So a little bit of bullish divergence here on the daily time frame with Bitcoin dominance. I think if we can break back above about 42% on Bitcoin dominance, we could see Bitcoin move up, altcoins get thrashed a little bit. And I think Ethereum will likely follow along with Bitcoin. But again, this just goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? This is not the area to be looking for altcoin gems. It's the wrong market conditions. Buy altcoin gems when the market's bullish, right? That's how you do it. Right now, you should just be focused on preserving your stack, not losing your shirt. And again, my recommendation is about 25% of the Bitcoin and Ethereum you want to hold here is what you should be buying. No more than that, right? Because the markets could dip another 50%. And then what are you going to do? You're out of money and you're down 50%. Yeah, so Rob Taylor, I've been discussing this about CME dealers are near all-time high levels of shorting right now. Yeah, so listen, right now, the futures markets funds are making a massive bet that the Fed, the Federal Reserve Board, is going to remain hawkish at the annual FOMC. Okay, and I've said this before. If Jerome Powell comes out, if Big Papa Powell comes out, and he is a little dovish, oh man, they are going to be on the wrong side of the trade, and we're going to see a short squeeze like you have not seen because it's the same. We can go over here to my crypto quant dashboard. It's not mine. Anybody can use this. What did I want to show here? Yeah, funding. Yeah. So funding rate indicates that the dominant sentiment in futures markets is to the short side. We can see that from Glassnode as well. Let's actually go over to my other Glassboard dashboard. This is the one I use on a daily basis. And this is where I look at all the Bitcoin futures and on-chain metrics that I like to look at. So as we can see here, here's a 7-day moving average of the perpetual funding rate. And as we can see, sentiment has shifted toward the negative. And the reason I lately I've been liking to look at a smooth moving average of the funding rate is it just helps me get where's the trend, right? You know, if you look at those individual bobs and bips and spikes, it can be really hard to kind of decipher the information because funding might switch back and forth. But you want to look at what is the trend, right? So you can see here, the trend shifted at the beginning of August to the middle of August here from high funding, a lot of bullishness, and now we've shifted into a dominant short sentiment. So, by the way, Tim, Dark, thanks so much for the subs over on YouTube, guys. Welcome to the community. But what's really interesting here is position traders in cryptocurrency are net short. Position traders in traditional markets are taking record bets against the S&P. So I don't like to be I don't like to be in a crowded trade with everybody. So that's why I'm not net short right now. A little bit contrarian. Rob Taylor, I think you can just search for CME Commitment of Traders report, and it should be literally the first link that comes up. Yeah, so we could just go to select product, cryptocurrencies, and BTC, and here's your Commitment of Traders report right here. And then you can download here's the user guide and all that. So I'll actually drop this link in the chat. There you go, bro. Okay. Bitcoin family says, buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and hold for 6 months. Good advice, brother. Fuck yeah. I don't hate it. I'm not mad at you. I think that's a very rational statement. No problem, Rob Taylor. All right, guys, it is 5:09 and it's a Friday. We got to go. All right. So unfortunately, not a lot of news today. Of course, I did want to go over all the data that I have on BitBoy Crypto. But we will just attempt to get to that next week. Okay. No, I do want to talk about BitBoy Crypto and some information from Zach XBT on just how bad of a trader or, you know, shill he is. But we will just try to get to that next week. All right. So okay, no massive events occurring today on the Kraken cryptocurrency calendar. I will be scheduling a different format and mentoring session for all the premium members for next week. So I know it's been a little bit of an absence without the regular mentoring. It's caused a little bit of strife in the community, but we will be returning to regular mentoring next week. I'm going to need some, I'm asking for the kind of contribution and assistance of the premium members to get this back up to where it was. It takes a lot of time to write the syllabus. It takes a lot of time to come up with the concepts and topics and to do the time, and it takes time to record and be there for you guys. So if you guys want to take full advantage of the educational opportunities available to you, make sure you guys show up and schedule for the mentoring session. I really appreciate that. Okay. So plugging the comment section, guys. If you guys want your comment read live on stream, make sure to leave a comment on today's video. Helps out with the algorithm, and we will be selecting one random commenter per month and giving them a free month of access to the premium trading group. So if you guys are new to the community, if you're on the fence about joining the premium trading group, great opportunity to get your comment in and get an opportunity to get exactly what you want. All right, guys, Discord. We discuss the markets, we exchange charts and setups, and you guys can see the team in their environment. So make sure to join our free Discord, discord.krakencryptocurrency.com. Check out the blog on the website, krakencryptocurrency.com. Link to today's market analysis is in the description down below. If you're not a premium member, you only have 24 hours to view that analysis, and then it is going to be locked and available to premium members only. That's how it works. All right, guys. In the final analysis, I want you guys to remember that it's not all fun and games. It's not all about making millions and billions. It's risk management and emotional discipline are what pays the bills at my house and every successful trader's house that I know. So focus on those skills first and you'll do well. Always take the time to appreciate the things in your life that matter. So I want you guys, as a challenge, make sure that you call somebody that you really appreciate, that you love, that you haven't spoken to in a while this weekend. Reach out to them, just give them a call, send them a message, let them know that you care about them, let them know how much they mean to you. You don't know how little time you have with somebody until they're gone, and I want you guys to enjoy and experience your life. All right, guys. Until next time, trade safely, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers. That didn't work. Cheers.